Sit back, relax a little bit. Let me tell you a story. See if yours is anything like mine. Remember when I was a kid? So much better when I popped the lid. Feel the rap or open it up.
Exactly, listen to Sean. Right, and Cash Out's the easy way to get money transferred when you're out with friends. So, hop into that and then we'll get back to it.
He said, baby, jump in the back, boy. Tailgate crazy.
Tailgate crazy. What's going on, guys? You know what it is. Fantasy Reports. You're watching Fantasy Reports on Shady Sports Network, and I am your bus driver, Cedric Green. As usual, tonight it's just me for right now. I think Justin will be joining me. We'll see. We'll get him on here. We'll get it going. Either way, we'll get this bus rolling, man, and keep it moving, right? Yeah, let me see really quick. Let me shoot him a text really quick. Yeah, so guys, we're gonna be talking about the Super Bowl episode. We jumped into it on Sunday. Started talking about it a bit. There we go. We got Justin back there. And off screen we'll bring him on. But yeah, so we'll get more into it, talking about that matchup between the Eagles and the Chiefs coming up in the Super Bowl. What up, Justin?
A whole lot. I made it. I'm here. What's up, everybody?
Right, perfect timing, man. Just getting started. So yeah, guys, you're watching Fantasy Reports on Shady Sports Network. I'm your bus driver, Cedric Green. I got my co-pilot Justin as usual. And normally we're talking fantasy football reports, right? So the fantasy season, it's over and done with. You got some leagues that have done playoff fantasy football and kept it going, but that's essentially done too. We're 2 weeks out from the Super Bowl. So now we're talking just more.
At least it should be done.
Yeah, right. You're crazy. You're still trying to do some fantasy stuff. And then there's people that still get it done though, I guess. So, but yeah, man, I mean, moving into the Super Bowl, we got the game locked up finally. We know who the division winners are, and the Eagles and the Chiefs both coming through and holding it down for their equal divisions last week. Going into this game, man, who do you feel really has the momentum though? Between the two coming off these division games?
I hate to say it, but I think it is the Eagles have the momentum after just that drudging of the way they demonstrated their will against the Commanders. I mean, on offense, they look like a juggernaut going into the Super Bowl, but I would say other two teams. I know they got the narrative over there at the Kansas City Chiefs, and they got that going on. But the Eagles just seem like if they're anything like their fans, they're pretty hyped. They're pretty stoked to be where they're at going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it looks like ESPN has Kansas City at -1.5.
So it should be a close game.
Yeah, super, super, super tight. And then their power index has Philadelphia at 56.2%, so by 2.3 points. So super close game.
Because these two teams are playing very excellent football, so we'll be getting two teams on their upswing, and it didn't seem like either team was had any sort of flaws or deficiencies in their matchup in the championship game. They both playing their best football, so it should make for a healthy game with the 2 weeks off, and it should make for an entertaining one.
Yeah, I think it should for sure. I mean, we're kind of seeing two teams kind of almost fairly similar, but quite different in how they do things. Whereas you got, the Eagles coming in with a solid, super solid running game, but they do have a decent passing game. They do have really good receivers. They're really good on the outside, and they can stretch the defense if needed. Whereas you got Kansas City coming in with a pretty good passing game for the most part. But they do have a decent running game. Whereas they can slow the game down and get in between the trenches if they need to. And run the ball. And then on defense, I feel like you got a Kansas City defense where their inside is pretty scary. you don't want to, you don't want to take it up the middle so much. So, whereas with the Eagles, their outside is a lot scarier. So I feel like, yeah, they kind of have strengths on both sides of the ball. They both do, but kind of in different areas. So it's gonna be really interesting to see this matchup coming into the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we'll get into our predictions later, and I'll go more into this matchup here. Do you think the 2 weeks off, who does it benefit more, the Chiefs or the Eagles, for rest?
I think the Eagles, man. I think they need. I think Jalen Hurts needs that rest. I think Pat Mahomes needs that rest too. I think they're both kind of banged up, nicked up throughout this playoff run.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
more
think the
confident
Eagles
in
are
the
going to
Chiefs
kind of
to
benefit.
come out with their A game for the Super Bowl, coming off 2 weeks rest, because we saw their starters mostly rest in the last 3 weeks of the season going into the playoffs, and how they played in the playoffs up to this point shows that any bit of rest, it don't matter to them. It's just an added benefit, and it's not going to slow them down.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be, man, and I mean it's even, it's super tight everywhere. These all these predictions I'm seeing across the board. They just have it really, really close. Like I'm looking on SuperBowlNation.com and just their predictions going down. I mean, Mark Schofield, Chiefs 38, Eagles 35, James Dater, Eagles 20, Chiefs 17. They're all like got it like 3-4 point games. David 20, Eagles 27, Chiefs 23. So I mean, everybody feels this is going to be just like a super, super close, hard fought battle, and it's going to come down to who doesn't make those mistakes, right? I think Eagles fans are ready to say that, they're ready to say that the refs are on the Chiefs side and that the refs mess it up for them. So I think the Chiefs kind of have to win. If they win, it has to be a resounding victory. It can't come down to a controversial call, right? And then
Yeah, I know I was saying it in the divisional rounds, especially when we were going over those games, but I think the narrative or the theme for this playoffs this year is whatever team doesn't make the turnovers and takes advantage of turnovers is going to have the advantage and is most likely going to come out to be the winner in this game, because all throughout the playoffs, the teams that turned over the ball more and that didn't finish their drives or score off of turnovers ended up having the sad side of the stick there for the playoffs. So I think whoever can minimize mistakes and capitalize on the opponent's mistakes is going to set themselves up nicely to end up winning the game. Another element that I think is going to be strongly considered for both coaches to look at in film through these playoffs to going into the Super Bowl game as well is the pass rush. How is the Chiefs offensive line going to slow down Jalen Carter and those other Eagles pass rushers from protecting Mahomes, letting him get the ball out and be able to operate in space? And also with Jalen Hurts and his knee, like how fast does Chris Jones and that Chiefs defensive line create pressure for Hurts, forcing him to throw the ball sooner than he would like, or try to get it out into Barkley's hands as soon as possible? So I think the X factor for both teams into this game is just going to be how well the offensive line handles the other team's defensive line, and how much protection they can give their quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to come down to for the Eagles for sure, because it's going to be interesting to see if the Chiefs
Because
do
didn't they have an
decide
injury that game? The Eagles, they lost their center.
Oh gosh, did they lose? Towards the end of the game, huh? I feel like
I thought they had an injury.
Let me see. Let me check to see if he's
Breaking
out.
news was said.
Hey, from the Eagles. No, he's not out. I think he went down. I remember seeing it like towards the end of the game, but I don't think he's out.
Okay. Well, regardless, they'll have 2 weeks to recover, but it's one of the things to keep an eye on going into that matchup.
Yeah, I think actually both teams are fairly healthy going into this match. As far as like, I mean, I guess the Eagles still do have some defenders out, but nothing too crazy. No really big positions that they're missing. I think all their key positions will be in. So I'm ready to see this matchup. It's crazy. It feels like most of America is over this. They don't want to see this matchup, right? Like they feel like it's been done. It's been done already. It's boring. This is Golden State.
I will turn a new leaf
Cleveland.
over, a new perspective on the situation. If America doesn't want to see this anymore, well, then their teams need to step up and start beating these two teams so they don't end up getting to the Super Bowl. Like, take care of business, knock these teams out, and keep them out of the playoffs.
Right. That is very true. You don't want to see them, then your team needs to beat them. And your team can't beat them, then you got to watch them. And you're going to watch them, right? I feel like that's it. You know, NFL knows that's how it's going to go down. But at the same time,
for how the playoffs played out, I mean, I don't know your perspective on it, but I think arguably that these were the two best teams in the playoffs, and rightfully so. They should be playing each other in the Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean, aside from maybe Baltimore,
but they also made a couple mistakes that they couldn't recover from.
They couldn't get there. They couldn't get there, right? They couldn't beat Buffalo. So
Lions made too many mistakes and they couldn't get there. So, you know, it just take care of the ball and take care of business and you'll get to be where you're at. And that's what both the Eagles and the Chiefs did.
Yep. It would have been interesting to see, though, if it had been Baltimore, Chiefs, Philly, Detroit, you know, see that outcome, what that would have been. Maybe, you know, a little bit more experience. Yeah, but I mean, Buffalo has a lot of playoff experience.
Yeah, I applaud the Chiefs for how well they've done in the dynasty they've built. But, you know, one of these years I'm looking forward to, again, to like some fresh blood in the Super Bowl, something new to watch. It'll be nice. But until then,
we'll see that soon. I think we'll start seeing that too, you know, as teams. We're starting to see these rosters build out. I mean, I don't think this is the last of Washington. You know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely not. Their future is bright, and their prospects are to the moon. They have a lot in front of them to look forward to in 2025.
Yeah, no, that's very true. So it is going to be. I think we are going to start seeing teams kind of sneak in and jump in that window. But yeah, I mean, these guys are kind of the mainstays. They've been proving that for at least the past 5 years, right? I think I think we will continue to see these teams until teams come in and prove that they can beat them consistently. I mean, you know, we saw Joe Burrow come in, right? Had 1 year, he knocked the Chiefs off.
The Rams did it.
We saw the Rams keep the Eagles out, and it was a whole different Super Bowl. And then we kind of seen the same since. You know, we saw Tampa Bay sneak in there when they had Tom Brady at the end, and then you know they've been kind of looking like they've been trying to sneak in the past couple of years as well too. So it will be interesting to see what teams can kind of break through that barrier next season. Like, will we see the Vikings come back and run it back with JJ McCarthy, or you know, will we see the Chargers kind of reload and add more weapons for Justin Herbert and see them go a little further in the playoffs, or teams like the Broncos or the Commanders that are a couple pieces away from dominating, right? So I think we are starting to see things happen. It's just you have to have that focus, man. Towards the end of the year, you have to be focused at the end of the season, and then we're starting. That's when you see like that experience come into play. So I think that's what we saw. Oh shoot, hold on, my bad. I think that's what we saw.
We'll get into that after the break.
And this playoffs was that experience more so than anything else, kind of shine above all else. Yeah. Speaking of break, though, let's go ahead. Let's take a. We're gonna take a promo really quick, and then when we come back, what say you? We'll just kind of talk more on this and kind of just talk a little bit more on what we feel or would like to see going forward with the future, or even maybe just looking as close as next year too, how we think it's going to kind of play out. So I kind of like talking on this for a moment. So yeah, guys, you guys who watching Fantasy Reports on Shady Sports Network, thank you for tuning in. All of your viewers, don't forget to hit that like button. Please hit that like button and please share. It's very, very much appreciated. And we'll be right back on the other side. Stick with us. Yeah, so it is going to be interesting. Just to see how things change. I just saw that Cliff Kingsbury decided to stay in Washington for a second season as the OC. He probably could have went and picked up another team somewhere and became, a coach somewhere. But it is going to be interesting to see how things turn out. And then we have some. They're all saying it's going to be the Bears and the Chargers next season. Those are Lions colors too.
Yeah, what are you saying, huh?
Yeah, all right. I don't even see any Bears colors. I don't know where we get the Bears from. Anyway, you'll see a bunch of different changes. You got teams like the Jaguars with a new coach. What's going to happen with Trevor Lawrence? Is that going to shock some life into him? You got Ben Johnson going to the Bears. Is that going to kind of give Caleb Williams kind of that Jaden Daniels type spark and push them, to the next step? What's going to happen? Are we going to see, age kind of come into play with Jared Goff? Things like that. Like, you never know, man. All across the board, things are going to change. And I think, what's up, Chad? What's up, Chad? Thanks for shouting out, man. Hey, thanks for watching, showing the love.
Hey, Chad, welcome to the show. Thanks for chiming in.
Yeah, no, I figured, yeah. So, I think going forward, I think it is.
Who do you think? I guess I have a question for you. Based off the finish of this year, who do you think of the two teams in either conference has the easiest path to retool quick and get to the big game next year and knock off either the Eagles or the Chiefs and keep them out of it?
Yeah. Gosh, man, I think there's a good amount of teams, quite honestly. Like, I think some teams kind of solidified their quarterbacks this season and that kind of put them into play, where they, very much are right there in the mix of it. I mean, I think teams like the Panthers kind of got a bolt, kind of a little bit of electricity towards the end of the year, where they may even be, maybe even a couple of pieces on defense away from competing because that division's wide open. Quite honestly, I do think, now the Broncos are in a window where they're looking at.
Oh, you think they're going to do it? Take the division next year?
Yeah, I think the Broncos are looking at a weapon right now. Like, we have all of our main pieces in place. Like, we have our outside cornerback. We have our quarterback. We have our left tackle. We have our outside linebacker, Nick Bonito. We have all the pieces we need to anchor the team. Now it's just filling in and getting those, maybe like a tight end or getting that workhorse running back is what we need. I think, quite honestly, you put Saquon Barkley on this Broncos team, I think we're right there playing the Eagles, quite honestly. Or the Eagles aren't even there, right? Because they don't have Saquon. So, like, I think I think we're a couple pieces away, man, from competing. And if we can pick up some pieces in the draft, I don't know if necessarily there's pieces and where we're picking that we can pick up that'll give us that bolt or get us there, but I think we are those couple pieces away from being there. So to answer your question, teams that are maybe
how about outside of your favorite team? Your team,
I mean, look at the Lions, right? Like, you get Hutchinson back. Who knows how that defense looks against Washington? Quite honestly, if you're able to get up the middle and challenge Jaden Daniels, so I think they're a couple pieces away. You get let's say JJ McCarthy is playing on Jaden Daniels' level. Who knows what Minnesota would have looked like? I think they have every piece needed to be a championship team for sure. So, quite honestly, you could say almost any team in that NFC North bracket, quite honestly. You look at Green Bay, you get them a solid wide receiver. If they had a number one wide receiver with their team, a true game breaker, man, put Jamar Chase on Green Bay's roster. Oh, man. And then, you got teams like the Bengals who just, man, I feel like they're like a defensive lineman or just like a good pressure guy away from being able to do damage because they can score, man. So I think all across the board, we're seeing that it's not quite as separated as it may seem, but it is, I guess, kind of.
There's definitely tiers, but there's gray matter between those tiers. There's just a little bit here and there. Yeah. I got 2 teams for you.
Who's that?
So outside of our favorites, we'd like to have a Lions Broncos Super Bowl every year on the Mile High Bandwagon here. That'd be dope, but we can't have that. So I think my 2 teams that I think could retool the quickest, bounce back, and get a resurgence and making a push to get in, knocking the Eagles and Chiefs off their spots to get into the Super Bowl. One might surprise you. The other one might be, standard or par for the course. But I'll start off with the surprise. I'm going to guess the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they retool that defense, get some sharper pieces maybe in the draft, some young talent to go with that secondary. And they get maybe just some sort of like healthy too, for one. But I think Baker Mayfield, those running backs between Rashad White and Bucky Irving and Mike Evans, as long as they're all there, I think that they can make any offensive play and could make a strong push. I know they didn't do well against the Commanders. They were a field goal away from taking it to overtime and potentially win it. I mean, heck, if they score on that drive instead of kick a field goal, they probably might win that game, and it's a different story. But I think the defense is there. It can have obviously some improvements, and depending on where they line up, even if they don't necessarily take their division, I think they can still make enough damage in the NFC in a wild card spot to maybe upset here and there and make a path to the Super Bowl easily, I would say. I think they got the right coaching staff in place. I think the players are resilient enough to take the lessons learned from this season, build off of that, and come back stronger in 2025. And they're also in one of the weaker divisions in the NFC, so it's easier path for them to host playoff games and have that home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So, yeah, my NFC pick would be the definitely Buccaneers. And then on the AFC, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I think this year was a good measuring tape of where the team is now. And outside of a couple mistakes, they could be right there. And I think next year they polish it up, clean it up, maybe get a true number 1 wide receiver or, an offensive lineman to protect Lamar some more. I trust that ownership and that coaching staff to bring people in to upgrade their situation going into next year. And I think the wind from this loss from the Buffalo Bills takes a little bit more of their sails, and they take a little bit more of a step back next season and have a harder time getting back to where they get to, because when you keep getting to the AFC Championship game and get beat by the same dragon every single time, which is Patrick Mahomes, mentally, I think there's a look on those players' faces from that game over the weekend, and just they seem exhausted, or they see that wear and tear of losing all the time in the playoffs wear on them. But I think the Baltimore comes back hungry. They know they were just a catch away from potentially being where the Chiefs are at now, and potentially beating, because they were only a toe away in the regular season from beating the Chiefs. So I think I have optimism with the Ravens organization. I think they can make that step and meet the Buccaneers for a potential new, fresh Super Bowl in 2025. I know it doesn't match up with the colors that are popping out being leaked in photos, but those are my 2 picks.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
No, I like that. I definitely think that Baltimore is going to come back a lot hungrier next year for sure, and they know what they need to do. They've seen that they can make it there. They've seen that Lamar's seen that he can make it healthy, keep it healthy. They know how to play together, him and King Henry, man. I think we're gonna see a much more determined Baltimore. I mean, look at them.
Do you see where I'm coming from in the sense where Baltimore lost and they're bad about it, but still hungry and ambitious? You saw how Lamar was just angry about it and was fired up and wanted to turn the ship around and get this thing figured out and going for next year. Whereas after the Bills game, they just looked defeated. Obviously, they lost, but they looked just out of gas, defeated, beat, and just like worn down. Where I just saw the difference between those two teams post game is like, I think the Ravens have the edge to come back, firing all cylinders, bringing all their stars back, and making that push. And
well, you got how I feel too, man, is Buffalo, man, is such a weird team, right? I mean, aside from having Superman and Josh Allen, and a really solid running back that they lucked into in a James Cook, I mean, you know, their defense kind of aging. You know, they don't have a true number one receiver. Yeah, they made it down and they kind of dominated their division, but they kind of had the luck of, like you said, having kind of a crap division too, right? I don't think they're going to play a crap division next year. I think we're going to see a different Jets team, although rebuilding. They already know what pieces they have in place to go forward. They're really just a quarterback away, quite honestly. They have every other piece needed to move forward. You know, and then Miami, you know, is Miami. It's just a matter of how healthy does Miami stay next year. That's the difference between Buffalo having an easy and a hard path. They had kind of an easy path to the Super Bowl this year, and by way of winning their division, yeah, they went in and they you know, they won their playoff games or whatnot. But I mean, you know, aside from Mark Andrews having an unlikely drop, I mean, they were the unlikely drop away from not winning. You know what I mean? So, that's a big thing. And then they played a super young Broncos team that was just, you know, kind of just happy to be there, maybe so to speak.
But they'll be hungrier next year. Like, that's where I see the separation between the other teams in the AFC and the Bills, where I feel like they've been there and fallen short, where these other teams get knocked off early and they want, like, they have it feels that way. Like, they get knocked off earlier. They see the Bills and the Chiefs there all the time, and they're like, no, next year is our time. Like, the Broncos, they're coming after it. They think they can win a division. They can challenge the Chiefs, and then they can get past the Ravens or the Bills in the playoffs. And same for, like, the Buccaneers of just winning their division, getting past, like, the Eagles or Vikings or whoever it is they have to play in the playoffs and get to over the hump over these teams like the Lions and the Eagles in the NFC. It's a testament to, like, the depth of your team in the sense of, like, character and mentality. I mean, I think Lamar has, you know, done everything he can in the regular season to get the Ravens to where they need to be, and it's kind of fallen short on the rest of the team. Like, I don't think he was the reason why they lost this week. These playoffs. I mean, it was a combination of things.
I mean, he did have a couple of plays to himself. I wouldn't say he was the reason that they lost, but he definitely didn't play perfect enough for them to win, I guess, so to speak, when you think about it. But yeah, no, I do see Baltimore being a little hungrier. You know, it'll be interesting to see. I think we got to wait and see how the offseason looks as well too.
Yes, and that's why it's the way too early thing, and just takeaways from the playoffs this year and going off of that, and you know, it's just talking points. It's just, you know, it's just stuff to
actually. So I was gonna say, speaking of talking points though, as far as like this season. So I mean, a couple days ago, the NFL did announce their awards finalists. So you know what? Let's take a promo really quick, and then when we come back, we'll go kind of, you know, run down these awards lists: MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, you know, Rookie of the Year, Defensive.
Yeah, and we'll kind of go down the list. This will be all the first time me seeing it.
Hey, well, there we go. We'll kind of see where we stand on it because they didn't announce it in any definite order. So we'll see the finalists, the 5 finalists, and see what we think. Kind of touch on what we each feel who we think will kind of win it, and see what other people say. Like Chad, I put out who do you think will win the MVP, and Chad said he feels just give it to Daniels. He's not a finalist, but we'll touch on the finals when we come back. So all you guys tuning in, thank you for tuning in. Chad, thanks for chiming in, man. I love the support.
Absolutely love it. Keep it coming, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm Cedric. That's Justin. We're keeping this bus rolling, so we're gonna take this promo, and then we'll be right back, guys, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Good luck, everyone here. Oh my Lord, who is this? Joe Burrow! Joe Burrow! AFC North smoked it right here, baby. Fanatics, authenticated Joe Burrow on the speed, incredible hit, going to Alpha Wolf. Congratulations, Alpha.
Yes, Chad. That is Breaks GPT. Think about such a weird
Yeah, I'm
name.
still working on mine. I'm trying to get mine here. I gotta,
We'll get there.
gotta-
Hey, yeah, for reals. Like if you guys want to, hey, hit it up. You know, you want to donate $1 to the show, donate $1 to the show. We'll collect it up until we get enough, and we'll order one from those guys.
I
sure.
plan on it though. I'm excited to see what I
yeah.
get when I do. So,
Chad, have you gotten
do it.
something from them? Tell us, what have you gotten? Send it in. Let us see. We want to see. Come on, man. Let us know. Talking about it and then like just bring it up. But nah. So yeah, we're talking about who do you think should win the MVP. So we got the finalist list. I'll go over this list really quick here, Justin, and then you know, just kind of talk about who you think should win. That's it. You know, it doesn't have to be in depth.
Yeah, perfect.
If you just got a name, or if you have a reason, whatever. But it is a cool list. So let's see. So we got the MVP, the AP MVP. So on that list, top 5: Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow. I was gonna say the teams. I was like, we know what teams they're on. So Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Lamar Jackson. Top 5 list. So
okay, that's a good top 5 list. I mean, they all respectively deserve to be there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff was my early season MVP, so it's cool to see him still on that list. That means, you know, that's how I.
Because arguably all these players, you take them out of their offenses, and it's a totally different offense. Like they all mean a significant factor to their teams.
Yeah,
and they all bring their own sort of way they play football to their teams into the game of football.
Yeah,
I think for the body of work the whole season long and the difficulty of schedule, who they beat and how they beat them, I think that my NFL MVP for this year would be, and this isn't a slight against the other ones because I can see an argument for all the other guys too, but just for my
you cannot
opinion,
say
my
Trevor
perspective.
Lawrence. You can't say Trevor Lawrence. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, I'll change it. Hold on. In that case, then I'm going to go with Josh Allen. I think he put that team on his back, and he became the entirety of the offense this year. I mean, they had James Cook had a couple big games, but overall, none of the wide receivers really stepped up. The tight ends let him down this year, and he really had to dig them out of games and pull them through, even when the defense was slipping and having to put them at least opportunities to put up points on the board, if not doing it himself and scoring. So I would go with Josh Allen.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, quite honestly, if they would have made the playoffs, I'd pick Joe Burrow in a heartbeat. I think he probably
honestly, the way he finished the last several weeks of the season, he was hot. He was on fire.
Hot. Yeah, it's just his start to the season was not the best, man. That's why
that's where it
Lamar.
slips up for me. Like with Josh Allen, it was all year long, whereas Joe Burrow was like cold and then really hot.
Josh wasn't necessarily all year long, fantasy wise. He had a couple.
Well, like I mean, he didn't have like the two extremes where it was really cold and really hot. He was just mostly warm the entire year with spikes of being hot at games or just literally putting the game on his back.
That is true. I go with that, but that's why I got to go with Lamar. I just feel like he consistently dominated the entire season.
It's a very hair-splitting separation. It's not a big gap between Lamar and Allen. It's literally just
at all. And I mean, you got Saquon. You know, who had the best season for a running back. I think had he probably gotten closer to the record.
He has a good argument for it. We all know that this award is just for the quarterbacks, really. It's not an MVP. It's just the best quarterback in their opinion. Because
Well, Adrian Peterson won it.
I know, and that was a different time, but like it took a lot for that to happen. Like,
Yeah.
And I just don't think the people who are voting on this stuff really see it that way. And I guess they're the ones' voices that matter. Yeah. And they decide that it's the quarterback that should get it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And it's usually what you see. And I mean, you see the list is dominated by quarterbacks, except for one running back.
Because look at the year Jamar Chase had, too. Like, he was outstanding. You got a number of players at different positions that were excellent, and they just don't get that sort of credentials because they're not the quarterback.
All right, hold on. All right, so you got Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I am going with Lamar Jackson, so we'll see. Next, the award show will air on February 6th on Fox and NFL Network, NFL Plus as well. So, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and see who was right. Because I mean, essentially, it's one of those two guys. I feel like it'll be really a curveball if one of the other three guys get it. Honestly, I don't know. I think it'll be one of those two though. All right, moving on. We got Defensive Player of the Year. Man, there was some. I'm just gonna give it a Pat Surtain, quite honestly, but we do have other people that kind of played really.
We got to share the wealth here, Cedric.
Right? Only because they didn't throw the pad all the time, but we got Zach Bond from Philadelphia Eagles linebacker.
Okay.
Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns defensive end. Trey Hendrickson from the Cincinnati Bengals defensive end. Pat Surtain from the Broncos. Hold on. Let me say it again. Pat Surtain from the Broncos. There we go.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
All right, there we go. TJ Watt from the Steelers linebackers. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you know who I'm picking. I'm picking Pat Surtain.
No.
He was shut down all year. He was literally the definition of a shutdown corner. Quarterbacks didn't even look his way. 2/3 of the game until they had to, absolutely had to. So yeah, I'm going with, especially when we had Riley Moss, then they had to kind of look Pat Surtain's way. So, man, you saw it happen. He was getting pick sixes from the 2-yard line against the Raiders and stuff. So yeah.
For
so
sure,
on that list, what are you thinking? Who do you feel dominated? Kind of. I mean, I know Myles Garrett had he literally kept Cleveland in most games, but gosh, I don't know.
That is a good point. I'm gonna go with somebody new though that hasn't won the award before.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with the man in stripes, Mr. No Gloves himself. I'm gonna go Trey Hendrickson. I feel despite the deficiencies of the rest of the defense, he arguably was the main piece on that Bengals defense that kept the pressure on the quarterback and kept their team similar to a Myles Garrett. But I don't know his exact stats, but I did the games I did watch him play. He was really making a huge difference in how comfortable quarterbacks felt back there, and just the field position game. I liked what I saw at Trey Henderson, so I got to go with him.
Yeah. No,
because with Zach Bond, you got the complementary of a good entire defense. You got Patrick Surtain, the good of the entirety of the defense. So I think, and then TJ Watt, I think, was hurt at some point of the season.
He's always hurt. I mean, Trey Hendrickson had 46 tackles, 17.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. It's a pretty solid
you know what's wild is he had 17.5 sacks through the entirety of the whole year. In the first however many, I think, I don't know how many weeks it was, but Aiden Hutchinson had 7.5 before he got injured.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like, I'm in 46 tackles for a defensive end. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a lot of outside play for sure. So a lot of flats, a lot of slants, and a lot of screen plays, just a lot of run play. He was just in the mix a lot of the time. That's a lot of running around from that defensive end position. So It'll be interesting to see. So you got Trey Hendrickson, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going with Pat Surtain. So, who you guys got? Who you guys picking for Defensive Player of the Year? Out
Yeah,
of
let
that
us know. Hit
5.
us up in the chat, boys and
Yeah, we'd like
ladies,
to
if
hear
you're still inclined to be here.
people of Earth. Who you
All the
got?
good humans
All those good humans out there. Let us know. All right, so
and
moving on.
cats,
We
if they're
got
here
the
too.
Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
All right, who was your Offensive Player of the Year? There we go. All right, so we got our finalists for Offensive Player of the Year. Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, there's your boy, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson.
Saquon Barkley.
See, I think this one goes to Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
And that's nothing against the other guys like before, but he just is in a whole nother tier of his own.
I think if Derrick Henry would have been right there with them in yards, you put him in that conversation, but he kind of fell off towards the end of the year. I kind of think he kind of slowed down. And then Jamar Chase, man, gosh, like it's hard not to go with Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow, but then it's like if you go with Jamar Chase, you got to go with Joe Burrow, right? Like Joe Burrow was
the way I see it too is if you can't have Barkley as the MVP, like this is the next step. Like this is the next alternative.
And I think he like dominated from
absolutely.
to end. Like they, as soon as the season started, we kind of saw what Saquon Barkley
and the Giants fans in the Giants organization, you have only yourselves to blame. You did this year. You let this man walk into the building of your division rival and just absolutely torch the league.
And paid freaking what's his name?
And he's not even on the team anymore. They paid Daniel Jones and he's gone.
Do you think Saquon Barkley would have been gone if they had paid him?
What do you mean?
Like if they had paid Saquon instead of Danny Dimes, do you think Saquon would still be on that team right now?
Oh, he'd still be there, but he wouldn't have had nearly as close of a season as he had this year on the Giants as he did with the Eagles.
Yeah. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So yeah, we're going Saquon for Offensive Player of the Year. All right, moving on. I think we know who this is, right? But maybe not, right? Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Who is it, said?
I'm just gonna say Bo Nix, but we got
here we go.
Too. So we got Brock Bowers, broke records as a tight end, man. Jaden Daniels, I'm sure he broke some records. He broke some Washington Commanders records, I'm sure.
He broke our Lions fans' hearts.
He broke some hearts, right? Yeah, he broke those Lions fans' hearts. Malik Neighbors, he held it down no matter who was throwing. Danny Dimes, Danny DeVito, Tony DeVito, whoever the quarterback was, Malik Neighbors was consistent, and day out. Bo Nix, he started a little rough. He did start a little rough, and then he came into his own. And yeah, everybody says it. But then Brian Thomas Jr., I feel like Brian Thomas Jr. didn't really hear his name though until maybe.
But what was presented with him, he did what he did with mostly a backup quarterback.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. But he didn't hold it down the entire season. I think Malik Neighbors. I think I'd put Malik Neighbors as a receiver over Brian Thomas Jr. And then I put Brock Bowers over to both of them as a receiver. But then,
absolutely in agreement with that.
Like you said about the MVP, this is like a little mini MVP award. This is a quarterback award, right? I think so. Like if you have a good quarterback, that quarterback's going to take it because it's the hardest position in football. So if they excelled at that position, then that means that they're really on it because their next step is for them to win the MVP, right? And gosh, like I can see why people want to give it to Daniels. I can see it. Yeah, you want to give it to Jaden Daniels. He did stuff that people didn't think he'd do. But I feel like Bo Nix did the same thing. Like he did, and it's not even an argument of Jaden Daniels having more because he didn't have anything to work with either. He had slightly more. He had maybe like a step above what Bo Nix had. But also,
there's a lot of parallels between their seasons.
A lot of parallels. Their division was kind of rough too. They had a hard. Obviously, the Eagles are playing in the Super Bowl, right? The Chiefs are playing in the Super Bowl, so there's that right there off rip. They played in the hardest divisions for the most part throughout the season. They weathered the storm, and I think it's gonna be cool to see them. And I don't care about give it to Jaden Daniels. You know what I mean? Like I don't care about Rookie of the Year. I want a Super Bowl ring.
Hey, I have the same mentality as you. I want that Lombardi. I want that Super Bowl.
Right. So I mean, although I think it should be Bo Nix, it probably will be Jaden Daniels, but it probably will be Bo Nix too. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
It could be either one of them. It could be either one of those players, honestly. Brock Bowers could come and sneak in and get it.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure, yeah.
And then, all right, so let's see. Move on to the next one. Defensive Rookie of the Year. This one might be a little easier.
I don't even know the options.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I'm saying. It might be a little easier because then you hear the options and you're like, oh yeah, that person for sure. But then it's like, I don't know. So, defensive Rookie of the Year, top 5. Cooper DeJean, Philadelphia Eagles cornerback, held it down for sure. Brandon Fisk, Los Angeles Rams defensive end. I didn't really follow him a whole lot. Quinyon Mitchell, Philadelphia Eagles cornerback, another one that held it down. Chop Robinson, Miami Dolphins linebacker. Jared Verse, Los Angeles Rams linebacker. See, I know Jared Verse. I know the 2 cornerbacks too from the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Quinyon Mitchell was playing much more of the season than Cooper DeJean. But I feel like that hit.
I think maybe Cooper was hurt for a little bit there.
Well, I feel like there was a cornerback that was playing ahead of Cooper that came in. I can't think of who it
There
was,
and that guy got hurt. So
yeah, and then Cooper came in, and then he was sprinkled in here and there, and then he got hurt a little bit. But he definitely had a solid season. I just feel like it was a little bit more up and down, and it wasn't as consistent as far as looking at it fantasy point wise as Mitchell. I just know that hit that Cooper DeJean put on my boy King Henry, man.
Better watch out. Here he comes.
That was a hit. Man, but I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna have to give it to Quinyon Mitchell.
Okay.
Just because, I don't really know a whole lot about this. Like you said, it's lost on me, for sure. But I'm gonna go with Mitchell.
That's a good pick. Can't blame him for that one.
Yeah, do you have any highlight or any picks for this?
Yeah, I forgot about the last one for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I would go.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I forgot. I don't think I said one. Logically Daniels, but I really want it to be Brock Bowers because playing in that Raiders team with no quarterback, breaking all those tight end records, we knew him coming out of college. He was a beast, and he translated and brought that game from the college level to the NFL swimmingly. And I am legitimately excited to see if the Raiders bring in a better quarterback and they have a better quarterback situation next year, because with having Pete Carroll as their coach, we saw what he did with Russell Wilson in Seattle. I think the sky's the limit for Brock Bowers next year if they get a better quarterback, because he's proven he looks quarterback proof. He looks very, very he's the perennial, this is the next wave of tight, Travis Kelce's and Rob Gronkowski's.
Yeah. No, and definitely. We see Laporta, we see Brock Bowers. You're right. We are seeing that next wave, kind of start.
And then for this defensive Rookie of the Year, man, I watched that Vikings-Rams game and even the Eagles-Rams game, and I was seeing the hell that Jared Verse was putting on both those teams as quarterback. That is my no question defensive Rookie of the Year. I watched quite a bit of Rams games throughout the year too, and he gradually made that progressive uptick in play and progress. And by the end of the year, he was looking like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with over there in the NFC West. Quarterbacks are going to have to definitely put him on notice and really have to think twice about where he lines up on the other side of the ball, because he is a menace. He is a dog, and he's got that energy in him that he reminds me a lot of like like an Aiden Hutchinson or a Myles Garrett or a Max Crosby. He looks like he can wreck games.
Mhm.
And that whole defensive line in general for the Rams, that defense is young and they're going to grow together. And that's going to only help his confidence going forward. And I think, yeah, he should be the defensive rookie of the year.
Okay.
But I don't see why not. It couldn't be Quinyon Mitchell either. He was exceptional all year long.
There's some
so.
good rookies. It was
Mhm.
cool to see how many talented rookies we have coming in. I think the NFL is definitely in a solid.
There's
place
nobody
for
on the
years to
list
come.
here of anybody that I'm just like, why are they on there? How did they make it on there? Everybody had like it all. They all have their good strengths and arguments for why they should be of the year.
Yep, very, very true. Very, very true. Hey, you know what? Let's take a promo break really quick. Gosh, man, we had quite a bit of people kind of tune in here recently. All you new people,
Hell
thank you for
yeah,
watching.
keep it coming, guys. We love you.
Jump in the comments, Chad. Man, thanks for chiming in, bro. It's good
Chad's
to see
awesome.
you.
I appreciate it,
Feel
Chad.
free
Thank
to
you, man.
come on and jump on here with us whenever you want, bro. You know, I'll send you. You know, you have the
Yeah,
link.
we're
Jump
chill
on
here. We're just a couple
wherever you want,
dudes
right?
hanging out on a
Exactly.
bus.
So yeah, guys, we'll take a promo really quick. You're watching Fantasy Reports on Shady Sports Network. Keep up with us. I'm your bus driver, Cedric. Just the co-pilot, Justin. We'll be right back, guys, on the other side.
How are you? Bring them things. Bring them things. I call the plug. Bring them things. I bring them things.
That's money. That's cash out.
Forever you and me. Right by my side's where you ought to be. 'Cause if I ever were to lose you, I just don't know what I'd do. Let me hear you now.
I had to let the whole Manscaped commercial.
Hell yeah.
It's such a funny ass commercial. Yo, Chad, definitely, bro. Come on whenever you want, man. We're on, you know, you see us.
I
bro,
trust you'll
every
get that all
Thursday.
sorted out, said.
Yeah, I mean, you got the you can just jump on StreamYard whenever, Chad, and just join us, man. Come on here, you know, drop in for a little bit and you know, dip
Shoot
out.
you the
We have
link.
been talking, you know, we want to get that segment, you know, smoking player of the week. So as we move into like the NBA, we'll be starting with that segment, our smoking player of the week. So any of you guys out there, you want to come in and jump on for that segment, you know, we'll just kind of make it, you know, a thing where, you know, you come on, we'll take your player, your pick for whoever you have for that player of the week or whatever it may be, and then you know you can dip out. Don't feel like you have to come on and hang with you.
Absolutely, yeah. No obligations here. Whatever you guys are comfortable with.
You could come and roll with us for sure. We'll take it. But you know, don't feel like you have to come and do a whole show with us. I know we get down in here, man. We put it down over here on Fantasy Reports. So but you're more than welcome to come in and you know come
Hell
and hang.
yeah.
Hey,
Like
come
that.
and hang, yeah, for sure, you know. Come and hang with us. So moving
Plenty
on.
of spots on the bus.
There's so many seats on this bus, man. We'll get it going. Yo, y'all saw the round table for Shady Sports. Hey, we'll get this bus moving.
Oh, you guys tuned into that one. That was a good one. If you
Yeah.
haven't, go check it up on our YouTube page and look up
Right.
the round table. You're gonna love that piece of video.
Yeah, straight up. So, but yeah, moving on. We got the Comeback Player of the Year award, top 5. All right, Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez, DeMar Hamlin. I mean,
I'm gonna go Joe Burrow. I think he's the best player on that list.
I was gonna say Joe Burrow for sure, or Sam Darnold. Honestly, he had kind of himself a season. I mean, I guess DeMar Hamlin by way of
Well, yeah.
right. But he was kind of lost in the sauce a bit. He did have some
Yeah.
impactful plays. He did. I did hear his name called quite a bit, quite honestly. But I mean, Darnold, like Chad said, I think
Yeah.
Darnold was ready.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I think Joe Burrow, because we've been waiting to see Joe Burrow kind of get it going, and we did kind of see him get it going this season. But I think that was kind of lost in the sauce by and I know that has nothing to do with the award, but I feel like that kind of was lost in the sauce with the fact that they sucked. They were kind of the best crappy team.
And I think in the context of the award, it's comeback player of the year, where I don't think Darnold was ever like at a ceiling of his career and came down and then came back again.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Was he hurt last year?
Darnold? No, he didn't get an opportunity. He was with the 49ers.
Yeah,
he was sitting behind Brock Purdy.
And then Brock Purdy took off. They didn't expect Brock Purdy to go off like he went off.
Yeah, my only argument I'd make over, Burrow over Darnold would be the fact that Burrow went to a Super Bowl and he's been up here. Yeah. And he's made playoff appearances and won playoff games. And then he had the injuries and had recurring injuries. And then came back towards the end of this year and was just on fire. Whereas like Darnold, like Chad said, he was just written off for dead. He was always in the dirt. He never had like a ceiling, I guess is what I'm saying. Like he never had, things that would warrant a comeback. Essentially.
Well, I mean, but he also was a first-round pick. Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
True. Yeah. That's a good point.
He was himself a first-round pick, and expected to lead, a team, and that did not happen. And we saw it go to the point to where he was Mr. Irrelevant was starting over him, So I guess, I guess he could be a breakout player. Yeah, I guess if there were a breakout player.
That's a better word for it. Yeah.
But I think, unfortunately, I think due to the media, I think he will get this comeback player of the year award just because they don't have a breakout player of the year award. But maybe he won't get it. Maybe he'll go to Joe Burrow because of that reason, though.
But I would not be surprised if it was Sam Darnold, and I would not be against it. Like, I think, maybe I'm just looking into the context of the verbiage of the award, but they both had themselves a stellar year.
And I think the whole time too, like Sam Darnold won. Joe Burrow did what he did, but he didn't win. I mean, it's kind of easy to throw for.
They both have their
when you're down and you're behind and you're trying to catch up, you can throw for 5,000 yards in a season.
Hey, send Sam Darnold to the Raiders. That'd be dope.
With Pete Carroll, oh man, this was gonna happen, right? You're gonna send Sam Darnold to start, and then they're gonna draft a quarterback, Cam Ward.
I mean, that's a whole different show, a different commentary, but I don't think the Raiders should draft a quarterback this high in the draft this year. I think it set them back a few years by doing so because I don't see Cam or Shedeur being franchise tier quarterbacks. I feel like they're great for what they did in college, but I don't see it translating well into the NFL.
Yeah. So,
or yes, I can see that. Yeah, take one later on in the draft, not right away in the first rounds. Maybe one of those later rounds.
That's what they did with Russell Wilson, right?
You know what they should also do too is go and bring in DK Metcalf to go opposite of Jacoby Myers with Brock Bowers and Sam Darnold. It'd be almost like a prototype Vikings offense with Hawkinson, Addison, and Jefferson. I mean, not on the same tier level, but the concept, the idea is you got Sam Darnold as your quarterback, you got your tight end in Bowers, you got Jacoby Myers as your possession wide receiver like the Addison, and then you go get a DK Metcalf that can be an alpha wide receiver one and make the big plays and stretch the field.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And you got that connection with Pete Carroll being in.
That sounds like a good episode. We should go through the conference. We should go through the conferences, divisions or whatnot.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, what's the word? I was like, is it divisions or conferences? We should go through and analyze each one, break it down.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Yeah, because I think we could spend a whole episode on the AFC West.
What do you think? What division should we start off with? Let us know.
Well, what division we should start off with. What are you talking about? The best division in the NFL?
Well, we give the chat some flowers here.
South.
Let's see. Let's see what they would like.
Yeah, let us know. Chad, what do you gonna come on and talk with
It's
us? What
just
do you want to talk
Chad
about?
is the ambassador and the beholder of the
Hey, he's the
chat
one
group
talking
here.
with us
He's
right
the-
now. That's how we roll, right? Whoever's talking with
Yeah.
us, that's who's there. But nah,
Hey, you show up, you get the credentials. That's all
you
I'm
get the
saying.
credentials. That's all it is, man. Nothing else to it. But yo, moving on, we got Coach of the Year. This is the big dog one, right? Man, we got Broncos sprinkled all up and down this list. That's what I like to see.
Little
See,
Salt
that's what
Bay.
I'm saying. Yeah, just sprinkled in there here and there. So we got Coach of the Year, Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions, Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota Vikings, Sean Payton, Denver Broncos, Dan Quinn, Washington Commanders, Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Man, it's so crazy how.
All right. Let's pin it. Said.
All right.
Let's go. First division we cover, NFC South. Chad has proclaimed it.
NFC South. That's what I said. The NFC South.
Maybe he comes on and talks about it with us. We'll see how it goes.
And then he want to come back with that punk ass pick. Obviously, let me go with the Dan Quinn. Everybody else say Dan Quinn, right?
Nah,
No.
I got another Dan in mind.
Who?
Dan Campbell.
Well, I would say Dan Campbell. They didn't have that meltdown in the freaking playoffs, but then you don't.
But everybody wants to bring up all the injuries,
based off the playoffs.
all the stuff they had to play through.
Yeah, so all that stuff they had to play through. So that's why I'm going with
all
Sean
these
Payton.
other coaches had a mostly healthy team. They had their
bro,
superstars.
We did not have superstars in the Broncos, though.
Yeah, that's right. PS2 isn't a superstar. Riley Moss is a scrub.
PS2 was playing on offense. He's not Travis Hunter. The Broncos were projected to have 5.5 wins.
Yeah, I believe that was. And last year they were what, 4-12?
Who?
The Commanders.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, honestly, the Commanders were right there in some games, man. They played the Eagles tight last year. They played
As the Bears, they were only a Hail Mary away.
Yeah, so that was the
Suck
players.
It, Bears. Suck
that was
it.
The players, the awards. So we'll see February 6th. We'll see February 6th who
so who's your pick? Mine was Dan Campbell. Who's yours?
Sean Payton. I'm not a homer.
As you can see, guys, we're homers. We're gonna stick with the dudes.
Hey, you don't get chances like this that often. When you get it, you take it. So we're running with it. We'll see what happens. So,
but if I set biases aside, I would probably go with Kevin O'Connell as Coach of the Year.
I would say that
along with Dan Quinn, that Minnesota Vikings team before the season started was written off for dead, like Sam Darnold. They weren't expected to go anywhere. They weren't expected to compete or be competitive, and they got those guys going. They had that defense humming. And
do you think if J.J. McCarthy wouldn't have got hurt, they looked that good?
I think that if J.J. McCarthy was a starter this year, they would not have won 14 wins. That's what I'll say.
And that's why Sam Darnold should be comeback player of the year.
He could, and I would be okay with that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like.
Preach it, said. Preach it.
All right, we got your top 12 fantasy quarterbacks.
All right, guys, here we go. Here's some rankings for you to finish off.
12 fantasy quarterbacks 2024. No bias on this show. No, man.
Okay.
We'll look at other stuff, but it's not worth it, right? You look at this stuff and it's like it's trash.
Hot takes coming from the front of the bus.
Hey, we include all. We're very inclusive over here. As a matter of fact, listen to Justin's top 12 fantasy quarterbacks in 2024.
I feel like I ranked my quarterback respectively here.
Yeah,
so
he couldn't pick all 12 quarterbacks from the Lions. So there's obviously other quarterbacks in this list.
I didn't put Teddy Bridgewater on there. Mr. Two Gloves is not on.
He wanted to, though. He had 12A and he put Teddy Bridgewater as 12A. But no.
I mean, 12. He did lead him to a scoring drive in the playoffs with one, I'm just.
Who were your top fantasy quarterbacks?
Yeah, Chad, hit us up with your top 12 fantasy quarterbacks for 2024.
Just
fantasy quarterbacks.
Your top 45 fantasy quarterbacks.
Tim Tebow on there.
Brock Purdy.
What?
Justin 12. Brock Purdy.
Oh, we started. Okay.
It's your list. Number 12 is Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Number 11 is Justin Herbert. Number 10 is Pat Mahomes. Number 9 is Bo Nix. You got Bo Nix over Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert? So you're
In
saying
fantasy
Bo
football,
Nix?
I do.
So you're saying Bo Nix is the best quarterback in the AFC West?
In 2024 season, he was the best fantasy football quarterback in the NFL.
Did you guys? Bo Nix is the best quarterback in the AFC West in 2024.
I said fantasy quarterback.
I heard best quarterback. That's all.
Hey, it's like sad shit. No bias here. No bias.
I'm just putting it on wax.
Like you said too, you got to get it where you can get it.
Right. Hey, you said it. You guys heard it. He said Bo Nix. So yeah, 9 Bo Nix.
I said fantasy quarterback in the AFC West.
Oh, I forgot to type fantasy on there. My bad.
Gosh, you're spending all this propaganda.
So 8, Sam Darnold. 7, Jalen Hurts. 6, Jared Goff. There you go. 5, Jaden Daniels. 4, Baker Mayfield. 3, Joe Burrow. 2, Lamar Jackson. 1, Josh Allen. Are you sure? I feel like
Yes,
Lamar
sir.
Jackson was over Josh Allen. I think he had more points.
To me, this is my list, and I thought to me that these were my top 12 in order fantasy football quarterbacks for 2024.
Your list was boo-boo. Nah, your list is pretty good. I wouldn't have had Pat Mahomes on that list. I'd probably put
Looking at the remaining quarterbacks out of the top 12,
yeah.
I thought he was better than all of them this year.
Yeah. I did ride with Jared Goff quite a bit. I knew there was a lot of weeks though you had to take off with Jared Goff.
And he wasn't
Baker
exactly elite. He
Mayfield
wasn't one,
solid.
but he wasn't a scrub at 12. I feel like he was somewhere in the middle. He performed well enough to be on that list.
Yeah, I'd probably put Bo Nix. Oh, I guess it's probably good. Yeah, I'd probably stick it. I don't know.
Hey, said take it.
that's a
You
good
got Bo
list.
Nix over Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert.
Right.
So,
So yeah,
get where you can get it. You're
Justin's
lucky I
top
even put him on that
12.
list.
Top 12 being Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, Bo Nix, Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, Jalen Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow, Lamar
And
Jackson.
absolutely, let me hear it, chat. Even you say, let me know what your thoughts about it, what you think. If you agree with it, if you disagree, where your top 12 are at. And I think this is probably my consensus is of where I'd be looking at quarterbacks going into 2025, where they'd be on my draft board as far as who I'd be taking in the draft by quarterback position.
Yeah.
But I also have a couple other names. I had a couple other lists there if you want to
I
get
was
to
gonna
those.
say you got your most disappointing fantasy quarterback.
My most disappointed. This is based off expectations going into the season, based off their performances from last year in the playoffs and regular season, based off the hype, based off the players they had around them, based on what they were projected to do and what they did for your teams this season. That most likely bombed your weeks than propelled you to winning your weeks, and hit them with the most disappointed quarterback in fantasy football in 2024.
Wait, hold on.
I thought you had a drop for that.
Hold on. Oh, I guess I don't have a drum roll. But most
there we go. That's good. That's good.
Fantasy quarterback in 2024. Jordan Love.
I have no love for Love.
No love
I had
for
him in a
Love.
lot of my teams in a lot of leagues, and I had to pivot later on in the season and trade for somebody and get someone else in there because he wasn't cutting it. Between the wide receivers dropping balls, the tight ends being hurt, not showing up, and then how much the Packers relied on the running game this year, and Josh Jacobs really took away opportunities and the ball out of Jordan Love's hands. And I don't know the exact statistics out of it, but he wasn't really throwing more than 25 passes in a game. He really had limited opportunities. And another factor that I was disappointed with, that I thought he was more capable of doing it this year, and I don't know if it was Matt LaFleur not letting him do it at all, or it was that injury at the first game of the season that set him back, and the multiple injuries he accrued through the continuity of the year, was his mobility. Like, where was his legs? He wasn't running for first downs. He wasn't running for touchdowns in close. It was just a very underwhelming year, and he's someone on my cautionary radar that for quarterbacks next season, I can see myself drafting him if I let, if enough of them go and it's far enough down in the draft, but he's nowhere in my top 12 of like quarterbacks I need to have rostered on my team for 2025.
Okay.
Until, like you said earlier, until the Packers invest in a true number one wide receiver, I think that really caps Jordan Love's capability of his ceiling for fantasy football relevance.
Okay. Yeah. I would have to say my most disappointing fantasy quarterback was Derek Carr. I thought this was going to be a resurgent season for him, seeing all these other quarterbacks kind of step it up, man, and he just kind of pooped the bed.
But he also had three wide receivers on IR. They're relying on the ghost of Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
And then
their tight ends were no-shows. So, yeah, that all factors it in, too.
Well, there you go. And that's why I was disappointed in him. He didn't do anything
that's fair
to lift the rest of the guard around him. No, I just feel like I didn't expect a whole lot, but that was a chance. The Saints, aside from those injuries, it sucks. It was a lot. They didn't have all of those injuries in the beginning of the season. They accrued a lot of those injuries because of Derek Carr throwing the ball across the middle of the field, setting up those receivers to get hit as they went. So, that was a lot to add to it too. Derek Carr wasn't exactly putting his receivers in position to win. So, we got Chad's list. He was saying this is 12 through 1. So he has Herbert as number 12, Mahomes, Purdy, Daniel, Hurts.
You got Purdy, Darnold.
My bad. Danny Dimes ain't on there. My bad. Hurts, Knicks. He has Goff, Mayfield, Daniels, Burrow, Allen, Jackson. So same players, just kind of mixed around.
I think that between the top three it is just a hair split difference. I mean, it could go either way, and I totally agree. I agree with that list too.
They didn't make the playoffs. Honestly, I think if the Bengals make the playoffs, Burrow's number 1 on all the lists.
Hey, and if Baker makes it further in the playoffs, maybe he's higher on the list, or it just a lot of how it shook out. But the difference is, as far as the Bills and the Ravens got, you see the difference between Allen and Jackson at the top of that list, and Mahomes is at the bottom.
Well, because Mahomes didn't have to do a whole lot. He's in his Tom Brady era right now, right? Like, you saw the same thing. Tom Brady wasn't a fantasy Tom Brady wasn't a fantasy beast, right? You know what I mean? Like, Tom Brady was just, he did what needed to be done to win the game. And that's what Pat Mahomes does, unfortunately. Like, fantasy-wise, I think his fantasy seasons are probably behind him. He's not going to be out there, slinging the ball around.
Until they get a true number one wide receiver again, I think his
to get one.
Is also
they may draft one. Yeah, I could see, man. They may draft one.
Yeah. But until they figure out their wide receiver situation, I think his fantasy ceiling is going to be capped as well. Nice chat. Like it.
Yeah. I mean, he just kind of does what needs to be done. So we got your last one. We got your streaming fantasy quarterback. All right. So can you explain this? What do you mean by the streaming quarterback?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
What I meant by streaming quarterback is the quarterback that when you had your draft end, it was mostly on most waiver wires in like a 12-team league, 10, 12-team league, quarterback that most likely was picked up off of waivers throughout the year, then was most likely drafted as someone you picked up to fill in for bye weeks or for injuries, or someone that you needed to just, sub in for matchups wise that was doing better than somebody else. That's what I mean by best like just the quarterback that you didn't draft or invest in, but you picked up off of waivers most likely at some point in the season to help get you wins and really produce points where you're lacking at the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I come from for there.
Yeah. So your pick for that was Matthew Stafford.
Yes, it was. And Puka Nacua helped him a lot with that. I felt like in the games that I needed to call upon him that I had in leagues, he put up, 20, 25 points, and that was respectable enough for me because out of like quarterbacks like Jordan Love that are getting maybe high teens, or Bryce Young, or Jordan Love, Bryce Young, like just quarterbacks that had higher expectations going to the season, but just were underperforming, and you had to make a pivot in order to save your season. I felt that Matt Stafford fit that mold or that category the best of 2024.
Yeah. For me, that was honestly, that was Joe Burrow for me. Okay. I think, I looked to him to come in.
Were you streaming him, or did you draft him to be your quarterback?
I drafted Pat Mahomes to be my quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up streaming Joe Burrow, or just picking up Joe Burrow, I guess. So
you got yourself a good situation where you got two A-list quarterbacks in your roster, which is a good draft strategy to have in case if one of them starts slipping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and it worked out because, he just came in and, kind of got hot again towards the end of the season, for sure. So, yeah, man. Hey, we've been getting quite a bit. JBJ. Yeah, no one likes the Chiefs either. The Eagles are okay. Jaguars are meh.
I'm fond of the Chiefs. They're fine. Let's see the Jaguars have a good season next year and dominate the AFC South.
Kyler was a good streamer, man. He came in.
Good call, Chad.
He went off.
He kind of fell off the radar there.
Yeah, only because the Cardinals suck.
I think it was because it was such a disappointing year from Marvin Harrison Jr. and that offense in general. I thought the Cardinals were going to be better this year, and they kind of were just
McBride.
Where they finished, just middle of the road
with a top 3 tight end.
Yeah, but he also only had one touchdown, 1 or 2.
Probably, if that, yeah.
But yeah, Kyler Murray's a good one. I like that one, Chad.
Yeah. We got this question from Caleb Daniels. I wanted to see.
Yeah, Caleb, thanks. I really appreciate that, man. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to like us, follow, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, we'll jump on this and then we'll go ahead and start wrapping it up to get out of here.
Cool.
Name a great player, but who was an atrocious coach. He said for him.
Ooh, yeah, Mike. Yeah, dude. Mike Single, that's a good one. Yeah.
Well, maybe not a coach, but look at.
Well, no, you have to do the context of the question. It was an atrocious coach, but he was also a player.
But was a great player.
That is a good.
Damn,
that is a good one.
Now. I'm tempted to just hang. No, but a coach but had to be a great player.
Had to be a great player.
Oh man,
was Leslie Frazier a player?
I would say so.
That Vikings coach, because I think. Yeah, because I know up here the Vikings fans did not like him. He got his warm welcome pretty fast here. I think it only lasted like a couple years, but
he played.
That would be my pick, is Leslie Frazier, because that's the one I heard about growing up here as a guy that they didn't really like as their coach.
Yeah, he played for.
So that would be my pick, Caleb. I hope that fits the context of the question.
He's a safety. Defensive back.
You got
he won a Super Bowl with the Bears. The Bears, the 1985 team.
Leslie Frazier did? Okay, so that's mine. That's valid. Fits. What's yours, Sed?
Gosh, that's a tough one for me because I don't. Let me see. A great
And
player.
while he's thinking, JBJ, I'm totally okay with that. I hope you keep spreading your Jaguars love on this show.
Yeah,
We love
man.
to
I'm from
promote it
Florida
and keep
too. I
coming
love
back.
it.
I
Duval.
want to
I
see
got
the
family in
Jaguars do
Duval.
well in the AFC South, but I
Yeah.
also kind of
I'm with it.
questioned their new head coach and how well he can do the Duval chant. Did you happen to see that video?
No, but I heard them making fun
It
of
was cringy as hell, man. I was like, ugh.
Dang, I don't know about Pat Mahomes over Trevor Lawrence over Pat Mahomes. Maybe I don't know. Whatever. Duval. Hey, I'm with it. I
No,
got family. I grew up 45
you
minutes.
did it better than
Jacksonville.
him. You did a better Duval than he did.
Yeah, so I'm with Jacksonville. Spread all the Jacksonville propaganda, Jay. I'm about that. But yeah, I mean, I guess because I'm trying to think of like the great coach or the great player.
You need to look
aspect.
up the
I feel like a
video
lot
now,
of this-
Sad. You get a good chuckle out of it.
Oh yeah, no, but I heard like I was saying, I heard the ESPN, it was on some ESPN radio station. They were making fun of making fun of how he said it. So yeah, I'll have to check it out. So Chad said I'd rather listen to the Roseanne sing the national anthem than the Duval chat from that coach.
But yeah, Jay, your Jaguars will be just fine next year, especially if the Houston Texans take a step back, the Colts don't get out of their own way, and the Titans don't turn it around in the draft.
Well, I mean, watch, the Texans are going to go get some more receivers, right? Watch, they'll go get DK and they'll bring all the receivers over there.
Oh, you're savage, bro.
So I just pulled some stuff. I'm gonna say Bart Starr. Just because I can't think of any coaches who are.
It's all
really,
good, man.
There aren't too many coaches who are
Jay.
like great players. I feel like the great players just kind of.
Yeah, but that was a good question. I like that from Caleb. I appreciate that, man. And thanks for the shout out there. I appreciate that.
I love cringy people. That's why I married my wife. Oh man. Good thing your wife doesn't watch this.
We're gonna keep this on here. What happens on the bandwagon stays on the bandwagon.
Hey, we keep it under buzz. We're drunk driving now. We're just swerving.
Ted brought out his bottle from under the seat.
Don't bring up the Colts. Still hurts. Cool. Hey guys, don't forget to hit that like button too.
Yes, let's do this again on Sunday, guys.
Yeah, come back and join us Sunday night. We'll be doing this again. 6:30, 5:30, sometime. We'll be on Sunday night. Look out, just set a reminder in the Shady Sports. Once you guys know what's up, you know where to find us. You see us. You see all the other shows in Shady Sports. You're doing the shows, Chad, you know. So
keep up on our socials with the Facebook, the Discord. We'll keep you updated throughout the week with any news or updates we seem to find that catches our eye and our attention as it pertains to the fantasy reports or the bandwagon. And we thank everybody tonight who chimed in. Everybody who participated in the chat and, is watching. Thank you always. We appreciate it. And we look to bring you another fire show on Sunday.
Yeah, man. And then look at the description too. You'll see the link tree. You can find all of our links in there. We got everything down to the Discord. Yes. So you'll find all of our links. You find our the link to join the basketball league, the link to join the football league. I think we still got like 2 or 3 slots.
Yes. We're still looking for some challengers. We need to knock Seth off his pedestal.
Hey,
and I need to crawl out of the basement, so I need some help for some wins. So
yeah. So if you guys want to get in that fantasy league, get with us. We're gonna build that up and come in strong next season. It's free.
You can hit either one of us up on the sleeper app at 3:00, and then I'm at Teixeira. I think it's on there. You'll find me. Just say you're coming from the show. You love what we do. You wanna take Seth out in the fantasy league.
Right,
like that.
We'll get it going, right? Yeah, so we want to get it built for next season. It's going to be the inaugural season of the fantasy
because it will be part of the show at some parts for next season too. We'll bring up the league as the season goes along.
Yep. So it is fantasy football chat. So we're going to try to have it updated every week, and we're going to bring the matches up. We're going to have graphics showing you the matches, who's going up against who knocked who out, where the rankings stand. We'll have the rankings on the show. We'll talk about how the teams are set up. definitely hit us up. And like I said too, look in our link tree, you'll find the links as well too. Hit us up in the chat. Chad, you got us, in the network chat.
Yeah,
so
for
jump
sure.
on there or jump on that the Madness football
And
chat.
I just want to, if it's okay, said, take a moment to, like, for you guys out there in the fantasy football world, if you have questions, if you're doing I know this doesn't pertain to redraft or other leagues because you do a draft every year for a whole new teams, but for people who are doing dynasty fantasy football, if you have questions about your rosters in the off season or moves that you could make or what your team construction looks like, you would like to just bounce ideas off of or talk about your team, feel free to send that to me on my socials or put it up in the Facebook group or the Discord channel. I'd be more than happy to go over that with you. Talk potential moves, talk where you could be drafted in your dynasty, who could be potential trade for targets or who you should go to sell. And I'd be more than happy to work with you on that and really just, talk about fantasy football. So just want to
take you one even further.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you that want to learn fantasy or learn dynasty or play another dynasty, hit us up. Let's start a dynasty league. I mean, we have like another month or two before you really get into it. So, let's get a dynasty league going and, we'll get that started. If you want to learn, this will be a good opportunity. It'll be a free league for the first season. And then we'll see if we can get enough people for that too, we'll get a dynasty league going. But we do have the redraft league for those of you that just want to play.
Yes.
I think it's good to have, it's a great connection. If you love sports, it's a good way to meet up with people and kind of meet people you may not have met before. I think it's a good opportunity to have that that solid connection growing this redraft league even on its own. But yeah, we can get a dynasty league going too, guys. And just keep it growing. The goal, I want it, like I said, I still want to get 100 people live on this show. So that's my goal, man. I want to get this show growing and get all you guys watching in. So we'll have a few fantasy leagues going for sure. And as we grow, Shady Sports Network will grow too. So
and the more we can do, the more we grow, the bigger we get, the more things we can do and do on the show. So thank you for everyone who's helped us get to this point, up to this point. We look forward to continue to put that out there for you and growing together as a community.
Definitely true. Couldn't have said it better myself. Shady Sports, man, let's grow. We're bringing, check out shadysportsnetwork.com. There's so much more content there too, besides just us rambling on about the NFL and the NBA. We didn't even talk about the NBA tonight, but that's how good the show was and how much content we had to bring you guys.
Absolutely.
So, we'll get back to it. I'm sure we'll touch back.
Well, we'll just say the
Wolves
won on Monday night. No big deal. They won.
Yeah,
they already started off the week with a dub.
There you go. So I don't even know what happened with the Nuggets. I've been out of it, so I couldn't tell you what happens. But
you're still reeling from that loss to the Wolves over the weekend.
Yeah, so I'm still stuck in that loss from the weekend. Here, let's see. I imagine. I imagine my Nuggets had a window yesterday because they played Monday night too, and they lost to the Bulls.
Oh, let's check these standings.
That's why we didn't want to talk about it. But the Joker had another triple-double, as I said. So we'll keep the stats going, get that MVP race going for Joker's 25th MVP. One day he'll let somebody else win. But we'll see. Guys, check back in with us Sunday night. As I said, we'll be on Sunday evening with updates, just kind of ramping it up to the Super Bowl, talking more stats. Sunday we'll be talking more on I think we'll be looking at the running backs, the top 12 running backs, and then the top 12 wide receivers. So we'll be doing those rankings. So get us your rankings in, chat. Come on that show, and then we'll tell you who we got, who's our smoking player in the NBA. We'll get that started on Sunday, get that trend going. # smoking fantasy reports. But yeah, no, thank you guys for tuning in. All you guys that watch, I love it, man. All you guys engaged. Chad, JCP, I think it's right? JCP, JBJ. Damn, wrong. My bad. JBJ.
Fire. Thank you.
Fire. Caleb, thank you. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. All you guys that watched in, I appreciate it. All you guys tuning in from everywhere else in the rewatch too.
Let's see you find folks on Sunday night.
Yes.
Let's see you there.
Yes, we look to see you. Catch us live. If not, on the rewatch. Thank you for watching too. Shady Sports. We appreciate you. Hey, you guys have a great night. Justin, if nothing else.
No, that's all good. I hope we all have a good night. Enjoy your weeks and go Wolves.
Go Nuggets.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.